Again, I'd like to give just a brief overview of the Facility Service Department. You can go on to the next slide there. As part of the annual planning and budget process, budget development values and assumptions are put forward each year and presented to the board during that budget cycle. And one of the key components that I want to reiterate is that Napa Valley Community College will ensure that appropriate resources are directed towards meeting the requirements to maintain the operations and maintenance of the campus, as well as the technology infrastructure. And also there's some stipulation there that we'll do what we can to move forward the facilities master plan and the technology plan. And that's something that, again, that the budget and planning committee, or planning and budget committee, depending on which side you're looking at it, take a look at that every year to make sure that the budget addresses those things as they can. The next thing I want to share is just a little bit of an overview of the organization chart for the department. Facility Services Department has evolved in the years that I've been here. When I first came to the college, it was called Maintenance and Operations. And you know, with the times, it's changed and evolved. Some of the titles have changed, but overall, all of the responsibilities that have been in the department have been pretty consistent, as well as the number of positions. We've seen the custodian numbers increase slightly over the years as we added additional square footage with the previous bond implementation. Generally, the budget for the facilities department, if you want to scroll down one more there, the facility services expenditures, this is from last fiscal year, so 2019-2020. You get a general idea there of the categories of the budget, the way it's broken out. One thing I want to make sure that everyone understands, that in a facilities department or a maintenance department, a lot of the resources are people. So you can see that of our almost $3.8 million in the facility services expenditures, $2.2 million is salary and benefits. So over half of it is related to the human resources that we have in the department that are critical for our success to help serve students. I'd like to just kind of run through some of the different areas of the facilities department. If you want to scroll down. So as an overview, a few years ago, we put in a new work order system using, at the time it was School Dude, now it's called Facilities Dude. Again, everything evolves and gets more complex, I guess. And on average, we have approximately 1,300 work orders requests that are submitted to the department, and those cover groundskeeping, custodial, all of the maintenance trades, and they might even be related to delivery and furniture setups and event coordination and things. As a whole, we have a few people in the department that do some safety inspections. We do safety inspections throughout campus, as well as our off-site where we might have community education programs going on. We're responsible for building management controls, so that's lighting, HVAC, climate controls, door access, a lot of different things related to that. Sustainability, energy management, try to do what we can to manage our utility costs. And then with the utility management, it goes beyond just the PG&E kind of concept, because we're talking, you know, garbage service, recycling, reclaimed water, gasoline purchases, the water bill. All of those things all fall under utility management, and we're trying to keep a handle on all of those things at the same time. As I mentioned, door access, we're the keepers of the keys, if you will, and so we manage the key system for all of the employees and staff on campus. One of the things that we also play a pretty significant role for the colleges is we're an agency contact and do a lot of coordination with agencies that a lot of times people don't think of. You know, they're behind the scenes, but it's the obvious ones like the city, the county, the fire department, the water department. But then we also do work with the Water Resources Board, mosquito abatement, Bay Area Air Quality Management District. So there's a lot of other agencies and coordination that we do as a department. Move on to the next one. Then to break it down a little bit further, groundskeepers. It's fairly straightforward what the groundskeepers do. But again, at this point in time, we've got approximately 149 acres on campus. 49 acres are fully developed. We have a lot of acreage that is less than fully developed, as we know, around the edges, but they still require some weed abatement and things. So the groundskeepers, as part of their daily routine, they're checking exterior walkways, stairs, and ramps for trip and fall, removing leaves, those kinds of things. Checking on parking lot, irrigation repairs, mowing lawns, planting areas. They provide a tremendous amount of athletic field maintenance and support for our outdoor classrooms as well. And they provide weed abatement and right-of-way spraying and weed removal along the roadways and things. And that's, again, is related to pest management. And then one of the things that they will be actively pursuing very soon will be raking leaves and cleaning gutters and roof drains and things so that we avoid building damage in situations on campus that way. The custodial folks are front and center right now with what's going on in the world around us. So they play a key role in helping to make the college safe for those staff and faculty and students that are on campus, as well as an increasing number of visitors. So the custodians are doing daily cleaning of classrooms and lab spaces, and also the public and common areas, entrances, restrooms, locker rooms, food prep areas. They are the front line for recycling and composting as well throughout campus. Again, trying to help us achieve some of the sustainability goals that we have as a district, and that we want to instill that same concept with our students as well. They do annual project cleaning. Given the most recent situation, they've had a fair amount of time to refinish floors and clean carpets and do those kinds of things around campus. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the amount of furniture moving and event setup and coordination that the custodians do. It's a tremendous amount of time. Rare is the day, although I will say the most recent months excluded, rare is the day that we don't have 2 to 5 events of some kind going on campus. So it might be 2 tables in front of the LLRC and a full setup in the community room and something going on in the student activity center. And then those tables need to be moved back and forth on campus as well as clean up afterwards. So the custodians have to do a lot of that extra support, and they're front and center even when you often think of them being behind the scenes. The next group, the mechanics, have a very broad range of things. And one thing I want to point out here is we have successfully installed the 5 bottle filling stations around campus. So there is one, and I think that picture is actually from the 1500 building, that if you guys were meeting on site, you'd be able to see it there. But the mechanics do all the locks and door hardware repairs, electrical lighting. They help and work with IT related to data cabling and things, plumbing, HVAC, carpentry, the list goes on. One of the significant things that they do is swimming pool operation. And in that picture, you can see those are actually the swimming pool filters that were replaced using some state money and some our capital improvement budget. Down at the swimming pool, we replaced those over the last holiday break. Something that you should do every 15 years, and we were lucky enough to get it done in about 20, but it happened. So there you go. The next group, warehouse mailroom and their responsibilities. So we're the central point for mail and parcel delivery on campus. The print shop is actually located in the warehouse building as well. So the folks in the warehouse deliver the mail throughout campus, collect the mail, bring it back, redeliver it, get it sent out with a postage meter, They deliver printing on campus when instruction is being held on campus. They deliver copy paper throughout the campus as well. Again, they do have a lot of support and help a lot of folks on campus, whether it's furniture assembly, delivery, moving, and again, the events support and setup is a key component. The other thing that the folks in the warehouse do, they're responsible for hazardous material response in management as well, because they're the central point of receiving. So they make sure that hazardous materials are labeled appropriately, and they also help with the disposal at the end of life. Facility reservations is one of the key components that operates out of the facility services office as well. We're involved with all of the non-instructional use of space on campus. So anybody from the outside or from the in-house campus users that are not instruction based. So it could be a committee meeting, or it could be a student club, those kind of activities. Because they're not in the classroom and they're not directly instruction, they're considered an outside user at that point or non-instructional. So we coordinate the setup and support with college police, IT, media services, those kinds of things. Sometimes it's a cafe, perhaps for a food service event. Right now, and this is true of last year, even with the abbreviated year, we have approximately 120 distinct outside user groups annually, and we have 110 distinct non-instruction users that are on our campus. So again, that's the clubs, it's the committees, it's the different groups that are doing events on campus. And we are trying to have those as much as we can to help support the community, given the situation we're in. Some of the food dispersal activities happen here on campus. We've also had a couple of blood drives, and we're going to have another one coming up. So there are those kinds of things we're still trying to do as much as we can to help support things, even though that we have challenging times. One thing that I do want to point out is that, as always, when you have a department of this size, you can imagine that you always have a few vacancies. We've had an ongoing vacancy in the groundskeeper area that we've been working to fill for a period of time. We had it filled for a short time, but we continue to work with that. We've got a couple of custodian vacancies. We have a male and facilities assistant vacancy, and a building mechanic vacancy as an electrician. Given our current situation with where we are, we're holding off on those vacancies. But again, when you start looking at the list of things that we do, and you have one HVAC mechanic and one carpenter and one plumber, you start to see that everybody's helping everybody to achieve our goals. And I think that's an important thing to say, as everybody is a team player. I mentioned before the facilities master plan piece of things. If you go to the next page, one of the things that I believe that I did a little bit of a snapshot months ago related to the space utilization work that we were working on in the facilities department. And in essence, it was a way that we were hoping that we could achieve some of the goals that we've set out for in the last iteration of the facilities master plan, short of capital improvement money from some external source. And we still hope that we can move forward with that. But as we face the challenging times that we're in right now, we need to make sure that we make sound budget decisions as it relates to some of the capital improvements that we have out there. But one of the things that I did want to mention is that we recognize that we have some challenges in our hardscape area down the middle of the mall of the campus. It was originally on one of the items that was at the tail end of our last capital improvement bond that we hoped that we could get to, and we weren't able to realize that improvement. It still is in our facilities master plan, and we still recognize that there's a need for that. One of the things that we're hoping with space utilization, we have some concepts in there that we want to continue to develop. And we had originally had them in hopes for them to be in this next, or what we're in our current year's budget now at this point in time. But again, we have to be able to adapt to the challenges that we face. So we're continuing to restart some of those conversations on how that might look. And one of the things that I have represented here, and I have on the list as well, is the Bear Fountain. That's a space that we're hoping that we can revitalize up around the quad area as it relates to the student services area and academic services, and really kind of revitalize some of that space and reimagine it. We still hope that we can do that as we move forward. If nothing else, we can continue to have those discussions and the plans as we move further into the fall semester and certainly into the spring semester. One thing that I do want to highlight is the 3100 building, industrial technology, machine tool welding. We are receiving state funds this year to do the design drawings and construction documents so that we can move forward. We hope then we'll get the additional funding the next year to complete that modernization project. So I'll be working with Eric Wade and Stan, who you guys all recognized a short time ago, to help make those plans become a reality so that we can move forward there. I also want to point out, lastly, the EV charging stations. We have a rare opportunity. MCE, Marin Clean Energy, is going to be celebrating their 10-year anniversary. And as part of that, they are offering the college an opportunity to partner with them to expand some charging stations on campus. 4 of them would be on MCE's dime, if you will, and then they will help us with some additional ones. So they're actually going to be moving that forward. Bob Parker and I have had some conversations related to that, and we're starting the paperwork process so that we can add some additional charging stations on campus, which I think are going to be, obviously are needed, and they are a component that's in the facilities master plan. So we're doing whatever we can to try to achieve those things in the odd times that we're living in now. So that's the end of my presentation. I realize I talked probably way longer than anybody wanted to hear, but if anybody has any questions, I would be happy to answer those.